just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, ChristopherBlodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. Nala, girl. Nala. Come here, girl. So what do you think, my beautiful husky? Is it time to get started? Well, all right. Well, you guys heard her. This week's topic, everybody. Brain fog communication and forward momentum. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you being you're hanging out here with me on another week of Real Talk Tuesday. It's like, where to begin? So first of all, I'm gonna throw out a few things. If you're new to this podcast, I want to welcome you. My name is Chris. I'm your host. And basically what we normally do, which we're not quite doing right at the moment, but we normally have these Real Talk Tuesday episodes every Tuesday. That's consistent. I've been able to keep that up. But we also have what I call Story Time Friday episodes. Basically, I'm a writer. I've got a few books in the works. I've got even some books that I call volumes that are these short stories for the podcast that I've also compiled. I've compiled them together in a written format, and basically going to be publishing those as well. So that'll be some of the quote unquote merch that we'll have for the podcast eventually. Totally just, my brain just literally just blanked, and I'm like, oh, what was I going with that? It's like, just taking a sip of water here real quick. Hold on one second. But, so, basically, Storytime Friday, I basically come up with a short story every week, and then basically tell it for the show. Been on a little bit of a hiatus lately, but I do have some material actually written and ready to go. I just literally have to find time to basically record. And part of what I'm kind of holding out for is I don't want to just take it week by week anymore. Like that's what I was doing before. I was like, all right, each week, all right, let me go ahead and record tell a story, and then the next week, all right, gotta tell a story. I want to come, bring it back, but I want to be able to work ahead a little bit. Like 4, 5, 6, whatever, 8, stories and episodes recorded. So that way I have like a month and a half to 2 months in advance where I'm I've gotten them recorded. They're basically, edited, scheduled, basically just ready to upload. They just upload automatically, because that way at least I can still do other stories. I do a story a week or something, but it wouldn't be me doing a story a week for that week. It would be me doing a story or two a week, and getting them edited, all that stuff, and ready to go, and just scheduling those at the tail end of the current episodes. So that way I'm not like time crunched. So it's kind of what I'm working towards right now. In fact, actually, because my bro Rico, he's got a trilogy, book series that he's working on. He's on like book 2 out of 3. He's finished book 1, and pretty awesome stuff. I guess he's working on finalizing that, getting everything, like wrapping it up, getting it all together and stuff, so it's published, ready to be published or whatever. But he sent me the full thing, and he had mentioned about, if I wanted to, like, be able to read his book on the show or whatever, and I was like, I'm willing to, if you're okay with me doing it. I was like, obviously I would give you credit for it, say that this is written by Rico Covington, blah blah blah, and I would break it down into like half-hour segments, which would probably be, because when I listened to it, because I uploaded it to my Speechify app, which I went ahead and paid for the year, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start listening to books and stuff more, self improvement, self development, self care, whatever. Figured try my best to do things to take care of myself, especially because a lot of us, I'm sure, struggle with mental health in general. So it's like, and sometimes you gotta force yourself to do different things, to make different decisions, take different actions. Sometimes you even gotta go through the motions, even when you're not feeling it. Sometimes you just gotta be doing it, So lately, because like when we got our husky back around February, like a little bit after my birthday, when we got her, it was still technically cold out for a little bit. Probably for at least the first, I don't know, like 2 months. They started to kind of warm up a little bit, but it was pretty cold for the first 2 months that we had her. And so I would get home in the morning, and I would, of course, throw on like some gloves, throw on a stocking cap or whatever, like a hat or whatever to try to stay warm. And I would, get her, get one of the poop bags for if she was gonna poop out there and have to pick it up, whatever. Take some treats with me or whatever, and then we'd head out, but then when it got, like, especially during the summer, it got really, really, really hot, so it's like, man, it doesn't take me much to, like, be pouring down, big old puddle of sweat or whatever, if it's, like, too hot or whatever. So, or even if it's not doing that, I won't be able to see, because like very quickly sweat will be all in my eyes, and I'll be like blinded. I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. So, plus with the whole mental health thing, there's been a lot of times where I'm just trying to get through the week so I can then enjoy my brief day off. And you get home and you're like, I don't feel like doing anything, but really didn't, I just couldn't bring myself to hey, let's take the dog for a walk. Especially during the day, I'm like, I don't want to walk out there in the heat and feel like I'm freaking miserable. So for a while I didn't do it, but then this past week, probably middle of last week, I don't know, it was like Wednesday or Thursday, I noticed, I think it was probably Thursday, made my way through about half the week at least, and then Thursday I've noticed that it's actually a little bit cooler. It still gets really hot during the day, but the morning when I get home, like 7-ish, even I think I got home this morning like 8, and it was still a little bit cooler. Hadn't fully warmed up yet. It was like 79, 80 degrees, but it wasn't like 95 yet. So I was like, all right, But last Thursday I got home and it was like 70. It was like nice. It was overcast. It was pretty dark out yet, even though it was after 7 a.m. And it was really cool. I guess it just rained a lot, so it's like I got home, I was like, oh man, it feels amazing out here. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I grabbed, literally, like, I hadn't taken the dog on a walk except for like on my day off. Like, literally take her for a walk at night on my day off. Like, you know, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, you know, before heading to bed, a couple hours afterwards. So that way, you know, giving her some exercise and stuff. But by that point, it's dark, so it's like it's not as hot out, you know. But last Thursday, I was like, I got home in the morning. I was like, oh man, it feels really nice out here. Screw it, I'm gonna take the pup out, you know. And it's funny. All I did was I got home, I put my water bottle on the counter, and I grabbed the leash, and the leash, of course, jingled a little bit. And the pup, I think, knows what the leash sounds like, because literally I picked it up and it went, ding. All of a sudden I heard a thump, which is basically the sound of like the dog jumping off the bed and making her way out of the bedroom. And she came out of the bedroom and looked down the hall at me, and I just held the leash up, like, ready to go, girl? She's like, I was like, want to go for a walk? Of course, it was like, of course. So last couple days, like, I've been trying to make it, you know, even though this morning I got home a little bit later, I got held up the night before, because they're demolishing some bridges out here on 70 still, so it's like, I think I got home at like 8:30, 8:45. You know, definitely wanted to take a shower, and but you know, I got home basically saying like, I need to be understandable if I don't take the pup out for a walk this morning because, you know, because it's really late. But I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm still gonna do it. The route I take her on a walk is like maybe like 15 minutes. It's like half a mile. It's not even that bad. Basically, go up our street, down to the bottom of the hill, and then over, basically across from where our mailboxes are, all the way to that end, where it comes to a T, and then basically take a right, go up that street. That comes up to our street, and then I come down. You know, our house is like a couple houses down, so it's like, you know, it's like it takes longer if she, because there's, I think when I took her out this morning thinking, all right, let's go, for the first part of it, she kept wanting to stop. You know, we would walk her on the grass and sniff for a couple minutes, and of course I would tug her a little bit, all right, now let's go, come on. Because I'm thinking, I don't want to be out here for 30 minutes doing this, what should be like a 10 or 15 minute walk. I know you want to sniff around, but, you know, it's like, but, you know, I gotta, but come on girl, dad's gotta go to sleep, you know. So it was a nice walk, you know, but I've been deliberately trying to force myself to do it, you know. It's like I want to do it, but I don't want to do it, you know, because I want to get home and basically like, screw it, I'm gonna climb, I'm just gonna crawl in bed and go to sleep, but gotta eat something, want to take the dog out, because the way I've been doing these videos that I've been, you know, because I'm growing my channel and just posting on social media and stuff, gaining followers and whatnot. I figure when I'm on the video, I'm basically talking about like it's good for her, it's good for me, you know, and so it's like it's something that's probably good for me to do. So I'm trying to do it, and I've noticed little things like we have her the kind of food she eats is called farmer's dog. So it's literally these packs. They have chicken, pork, and turkey, I think. Pretty sure those are the three kinds. It's like they're human grade food, and it's prepared whatnot. They come in these packs or whatever. In addition, when I got them, she would demolish the whole pack. She would eat it, and then later on she would still be acting like she was hungry. So it's like I had another subscription called like Unkibble. It was like, you know, getting human grade food, but it was the shape of kibble. And so we'd give her that later in the day as like a supplement. But then like with Farmer's Dog, I ended up, you know, I reached out when I was doing one of her orders, because right now I do it every 2 weeks, even though I want to get back into doing every 4 weeks, so that way she can have a bigger, you know, don't have to order it every 2 weeks or whatever. But I reached out when I was doing one of my orders, and I was like, yeah, when she eats, it doesn't seem like it's enough. Like I know you guys based on her weight, you know, it has to be like this many calories, blah blah blah. I was like, but it just doesn't seem like it's enough. She seems hungry still. later in the day, and I was like, can we like increase that? Can we beef it up a little bit? Like, yeah, we took it from 600 calories to 695, so it's a little, that'll bump up the serving size a little bit. Let us know how it works. I was like, okay. That seems to work out pretty good because there were quite a few days where she would eat most of her food, but the next day when I go to feed her before work, there'd be a little bit still left in the bowl from the day before. So I clean out the bowl, scrub it down, whatever, and then give her the new batch. So I started to think that she preferred the chicken and maybe the turkey over the pork, because there were a couple times where she had half her food left. But I've noticed, because I've kind of been paying attention, like, all right, today we're giving her the pork one. Let me know how she does. So that was today, and and I had messaged because on the camera I got the motion detection alert. So I guess my kiddo had gone out there on the deck and she was grabbing the food bowl. So I was like, hey Bug, like, how'd she do on her food? Like, how much did she eat? And of course my wife was like, she ate it all. I'm like, really? So yep, Bug went out there to take the bowl in the garage and it was already like empty, lid clean or whatever. I was like, okay. I was like, that was a pork one too. So I was like, I'm guessing, doing the extra, like actually doing the extra walks and being more active is probably making a difference because she's actually eating her food versus like when we're not taking her on walks because it's way too hot out. She might eat a little bit, but she's not. So I'm trying to do it because I know it's good for her and I know it's good for me to get out there and do it too. So I kind of carries into a little bit with the topic for momentum. So the inspiration for the brain fog communication / brain fog decisions, like those are fun. Like when you're tired, which I'm tired all the time, but I'm trying to do, there's a couple of examples. I think I was trying to do a video last night when I was at St. Louis, getting ready to head back. And even while trying to speak on the video, and it's like, I found myself stumbling over the words, and I'm like, it's on that video, I was like, sorry, I'm just very tired, I'm having trouble forming the words, blah, 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 just trying to speak clearly, enunciate, all that fun stuff. And then, of course, thinking to myself, I'm like, it's just very interesting that I'm a podcast host with what I go through on a daily, as far as like, trying to get as much sleep as I can, but, then having times where I'm trying to communicate, and I'm biting my tongue, or I'm just struggling to get the words out or whatever, and it's like, and yet I come on here and I'm, do an episode and, get through the episode, and there's still times where I struggle a little bit with it while I'm on here, because I'm all about keeping it real with you guys. So it's like, I'm not gonna record the episode, go in there and edit it, and try to polish it, fine tune it, make it. Oh well, I got to take that out because I didn't sound very good. No, what you hear is what you get. I might, that's why I might pause for a second to take a drink or whatever to kind of, just do what I have to keep going. But it's like, or yawning my butt off. But it's like, so I struggled with that when I was trying to do the video. Last night when I stopped at Love's, I stopped at the one that has Hardee's, because of course normally I try to stop at the one that has Arby's. It's 50 miles outside of St. Louis. But I had one of those moments where I was like, man, I really have to hit the bathroom. I'm not going to make it to the next one. I'm just going to go ahead and stop at this one. So I stopped there, went ahead, fueled, went in. Plus, it's quicker there anyways. A lot of times Arby's is pretty good, but there are times where I'm there and they're like, sorry, dude. Hey, Chris. Sorry, we're really, really slow right now. Or we're really backed up right now. It's going to take a minute. Okay, don't worry about it. Then we're like, if they're really going to take a while, they're like, hey, do you want us to throw you down some fresh, like, do you want us to fry you up some fresh fries, like fresh curlies or whatever? Like, yeah, sure. Or do you want to Like, we can put you some fresh chicken down so you can have a nice, fresh, hot chicken for that sandwich out of the fryer. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna complain. Go for it. You know, like, I'm already waiting. I might as well get fresh. Not semi-fresh, but fresh. Their food is always good anyway. Usually, I rarely ever have a complaint at Arby's, but Hardee's always quick. It's never a long wait. It's usually like maybe a couple minutes when I order, and then like within 3 or 4 minutes, hey Chris, here you go. All right, thanks guys, have a good one. Yep, see you next time. But so I went into Love's, hit the bathroom, filled up my coffee, figured it was one of those nights where I was like, you know what, I gotta grab 2 snacks. So I grabbed a bag of chips and a chocolate bar to kind of like, as like, hey, I want to try to keep my energy up, because yesterday, even with being brain fogged and stuff, I'm like, you know what, I've always said, guys, we gotta have hope. We gotta have forward momentum. We can't just be like my former friend D that I told you guys about, where it's like, if life is tough, sitting around and basically just complaining about life being tough, because that doesn't change things for you, that doesn't make things any different for us. It just, if anything, when you speak negatively about your life or about yourself in general, it's like that just negatively affects you. Hell, like, it's almost like, and I know not everybody will believe in this, but I fully believe that what we speak about ourselves basically has a lot of power over our life. Like, if you always say like, I'm broke, I can't afford that, I never have enough money, never gonna be able to buy that, oh man, it must be nice, then guess what, like, you're gonna be in that situation quite a bit, if not permanently, for life. Like, like, whenever you talk negatively about your own life, whether it's money or I'm such a dumbass, I'm so stupid, I'm a failure, like, I'm never gonna be able to accomplish this, blah blah blah, oh, it's never gonna happen. And basically, you're right. Like, that's one of the things I always say, guys. I've always heard, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're absolutely right. And so, when it comes to money, one of the things I've been trying to do lately on a daily is these money affirmations. Like, basically, like, try to speak positive about money. Like, no matter, like, you try not to, like, yeah, obviously, like, I don't think any of us could, like, fully, like, not stress about money, especially if money's tight, because let's say you're paying all the bills, the bank account's pretty low. I try not to, even when I get down there where it's like there's not that much in the bank account, I still try to avoid saying I'm broke or I'm tapped. I might use I'm tapped a little bit right now, but I try not to use like I'm broke, can't afford that, whatever. Or if I say I can't afford it, I'm like, I can't afford it right this second. I'll do it pretty soon, blah blah blah. But usually on a daily, what I try to do is I'm always trying to. Here's the thing, you might think negative. Like, you might have those thoughts come through your head. Like, man, I'm so broke. But just don't speak it out loud. Think it, but then try to catch yourself in that thought and switch to something else. Or even while you're thinking that thought, and you're like thinking, oh man, I wish I had more money, blah blah blah. But instead of saying that, be like, try to use these affirmations. Like, I literally be like, I might feel a certain way because of the way the finances are, because I'm trying to take care of these big ass things that are like really, really, really a big dollar amount. I can lie, one of those motorcycles, little tricycle motorcycles that have the 2 wheels in front and the 1 wheel in back, just passed me. I'm like, oh, those are pretty badass. I'm like, I wonder how much those cost. I might be a motorcycle rider at some point, who knows. But so it's okay to have those thoughts come through your head, but then basically the way you train your mind to not have those thoughts, change that by how you speak. So instead of speaking how you feel, like, man, it sucks. So, man, so broke, so miserable, like, man, life sucks. Life is just hard, man. Well, yeah, it's gonna be hard while you keep thinking it's hard, you know, but it's not gonna be hard permanently if instead of looking at it how it feels right now, you look at it how you plan for it to be in the future. So I might feel like I'm so man, like can't wait till the money's better because I like just paid out $3,000 in bills, or $3,000 in rent bills, whatever, or car payment or whatever. Instead, I'll be thinking that, but I will literally think to myself, okay, I need to do these affirmations, so I'll literally start speaking out loud. I now draw from the abundance within, and I see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me, blessed and multiplied. And then what they say you should do, because you know how when people, when they spend money, like when they pay a bill or whatever, they treat it like they're losing money. Like they paid that bill, oh man, I'm broke because all my money went to bills. You know, it sucks. Instead, what you do, pay those bills, but don't stress about it. Like don't think from a position of scarcity or lack, or you know that you don't have enough. Think, you know, instead the affirmation for that, when you pay a bill or you have to buy something at the store or you have to, you know, do something, it requires you to actually like pay money out. What you want to say is, these bills that I had to pay out right now, or this purchase I had to make, or this financial thing task I had to complete, I pay that with joy, and it returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. And then one of the things I throw in for an affirmation is I attract health, I attract wealth, I attract extreme infinite abundance. And then sometimes I'm even like, I attract financial independence, financial blessings, and good health for my family. You know, and I'm always trying to, you know, the things that I'm after, I'm always researching on things. I'm trying to figure out how to make them happen. Always try to, you know, figure out things I could do to work towards those goals, things I could plan. It's like, you know, like one of the things I've done recently that I finally, it was a big expense. It was like I paid out $2,500 because I'm, you know, working with a company that's going to be helping me put together documentation / evidence for the VA for me to, because I'm working on bumping my disability with him, bumping that up quite a bit. And so I waited until I had money to pay, because basically it's one of those where you pay one fee instead of paying them a percentage of your back pay when you get it. Basically, they charge a hefty fee at the beginning. It's like, I could have done two of the things and it was like $1,500, but I figured, well, there's another thing I could possibly get connected as well. So with all three of those, it was gonna be $2,500. And then of course, you got to get scheduled with their telehealth, with their medical professionals, whatever, to basically do appointments with them so that they can put the paperwork together to help you with stuff to get your, you know, evidence that you can submit to the VA to file your claim officially. And I started really focusing on putting the money aside for that within the past like 4-ish weeks, because looking at the time frame, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure my year after my intent to file that I filed would be like November. And I'm like, all right, I told the wife, because we were talking about it, like, I think within the past 4 weeks, when I started to put $400, $500 aside per week to try to like put that money aside and make it happen. I was like, all right. So I was like, I know we need to do like your car, like take care of this such and such for your car. We need to get Alan into the vet for her heartworm treatment. We have to get $2,800 for freaking escrow for the house. I was like, there's a couple things we have to do. I said, but the first thing I'm working on now is the freaking VA thing. I said, because we need the financial help like now. Like, yeah, we need to do all those other things, but it's not gonna make much sense if I do those and I'm still having to put money aside weekly to plan for this other thing when I could do this VA thing and get that approved, get back paid back to like last November, and then be getting the whatever it is, like $4,000 or $4,300 a month. You know, basically double, a little over double what I currently make. I was like, we'll be in a lot better financial spot once that happens. You know, and I was like, I'm tired of going week to week, and yeah, things are getting paid, rent's paid, utilities are paid, things are happening, you know, and like moving along, it's slow, but I'm doing it since I'm the major breadwinner and I'm handling the bulk of the stuff. It's taking me a little bit to actually accomplish the things I want to accomplish. And I have other goals, like for instance, like publish the books. Working on being able to get this show, like, you know, get the show a little more off the ground than it is, like beef up the downloads, monetize it, you know, get merch out there, all that fun stuff. And then working on the coffee shop, you know, getting more traffic to that side and starting to do more orders and basically grow that to the point where eventually, I mean, I have big dreams for that, like to grow the online presence to where I'm bringing in enough orders so that I can transition to actually have a brick and mortar, like an actual physical location. I'm like, I want it to be an empire. I don't want it to just be, hey, I have this online store that I sell coffee and tea and like hoodies and some whatnot. You know, I do pretty well, but it's like I don't want to just be that. I want that online coffee shop to get to the point where it'll help me, where I'll be able to add on the physical locations, because then I can technically all right, cool, at the start of a franchise, you know, have one location and then open a location near my Puerto Rico down there in Charlotte. Maybe open a location, you know, Blodgett Coffee down there near where my parents live, you know, and just take it one step at a time, but work on, all right, how could I make this like an empire? Like, how can I make this a huge success? And it's like, hell, when talking about the coffee shop with my wife before I officially launched it. And again, I look back and go, you know what? Before I launched that business, technically, I should have. I look back now and go, you know what? I should have planned that a little bit more. I should have done posts beforehand. Kind of did like a pre-launch, like, hey guys, like, I don't, you know, if you're a coffee or tea drinker, if you support a small business, going to be launching a coffee store, launching coffee, and it's going to be the launch day is going to be such and such date, whatever. Like, if you're willing to support, I'd appreciate it. Go on the website, actually place your orders, blah blah blah, get 10% off, whatever. I didn't think about that until after I launched. It was like, yeah, I should have done that differently. Because I've gotten a few orders, but I haven't really gotten the momentum yet. And there's things that I can do to draw traffic there and actually boost it up, but I'm not worrying about it as much. I'm just I'm doing like the free, what do they call that? I can't think of the term. Traffic that you're not paid for. I know there's a word for it, but again, part of the topic, brain fried. Can't think straight right now for some reason. I'm like, what is that? Not generic. There's a word for it that I can't quite think of. That when you're drawing traffic and it's through, you know, it's not through like paid efforts. It's literally just like you're doing posts and you're getting traffic to your site. You know, that's just happening. Yeah, it's like the words right there. I can see it in my mind, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to pull it out. It's like, what the hell is it? You know, generic traffic. Yeah, I can't think of it. It's like it's there. I'm kind of like it's like it's on the tip of my tongue, and I'm like, what is it? What the fuck is that? Yeah. It's bugging the hell out of me because it's like right there, and I felt like I almost had it for a second. I was like, nope, not there yet. Watching it'll randomly come to me like mid-sentence. I'll be like, that's what it is. So I'm doing the traffic just through when I do a video or whatever, and I mentioned the podcast and the coffee shop in the video, and of course I try to do where you edit the video and you put the captions, like the little text on the video, so the top of the video near the end for like the last 30 seconds I'll have follow, subscribe, blah blah blah, because I'm posting that to all the channels, trying to grow my following, whatever, trying to monetize my YouTube channel eventually. It's one of the streams of income I'm working on. I think I'm at like, what was that, 100 subscribers, but it looks like I lost one, so down to 99. And then, well, I hit a milestone and then I'm back below 100. But it happens, so just gotta keep pushing forward and stuff. But I figure I'm working on these big items I'm trying to take care of, like the VA thing, which that thing is off and rolling now. Paid that $2,500. Was at St. Louis really late last night because I thought I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. So I had to go, once I paid the thing, I had to go on to my dashboard and upload the different documentation that they told me that I needed, like my E235, my medical records with the VA, my prescription for the CPAP, because it's one of the things that sleep apnea is one of the things I'm claiming to try to up my disability, and then something else, like a screenshot or something of my rating or something, showing what all the different things to all the different specific things about my rating. So I uploaded all that, and then had to go into the individual things. There's like 3 of them. There's like 3 claims I'm making, and so had to fill out intake forms for all 3 of those things, and then wasn't letting me go any further than that. So I emailed my representative I'm dealing with. I was like, hey Andrea, just letting you know, like, I went ahead, paid the fee, got everything uploaded, did the intake forms. So she emailed today. She goes, I see that. That's great. That's awesome. I see that you've taken care of everything. Now what you want to do is you're going to want to schedule you're ready to schedule your appointments. There's a little image and a little circle, whatever. She goes, you're going to want to click this right here on your little task, progress bar or something. Like, you're going to want to click that. And then go to, select your, select your appointment, and all right. I was like, I tried to click that before, but it didn't work. But I guess I had just done it, so it's like maybe it wasn't active yet. So I went in there in my dashboard. I clicked where she had circled, and it was okay, cool. It opened like a appointment calendar for me to select days or whatever for each thing. So I had to select 3 appointments. Like, one of them was like mental health, and the other one's like for sleep apnea, and the other one, we're talking about things that could file. She was like, well, I don't know if you have like heartburn or indigestion or like acid reflux. I said, I absolutely have heartburn and acid reflux. Oh, okay, well, cool, then we can include that too. I'm like, all right, awesome. So I figure I'm filing for everything I could possibly file for that could be tied into the current issue I have, the current disability I have. So I don't want to have to refile later. So that's why I waited to do the 2,500 and get all, file for everything all at once, so I don't have to come back later and refile again and wait for the VA to approve that. So, but literally got that all done and uploaded. Well, I didn't do the appointments. I did that this morning, but last night though, when I was working before, coming back from St. Louis, is like I got everything filled out and turned in, and left there probably about like, I don't know, it's probably like 1:45. Rolled out of there. I think and plus that was when I hit one of the bridges that was like under construction, so we were stopped for a while for that. So it's like I got to Lenex at like 6. then, you know, got home and again took the dog for a walk, grabbed some food, some gas in the truck because I was down low enough that I'm like, I know that there's no way in hell I'm gonna gas up on my way to work. It's just not gonna happen. I'm just not leaving early enough. I could technically do it if I left a little bit earlier and then just stop at the gas station to put some gas in, but usually I'm like, leave it at the last possible minute. All right, I gotta go. It's like when I'm at one of the hubs or whatever, and I'm, you know, trying to get loaded to head back, and I'm scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and you know, getting to a point where I'm like, all right, I need to get going. So, but I got home, and before going to bed, I had an email from her saying, go ahead and schedule your appointments, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and at first I replied back, do I need to schedule 3 appointments? Or do I do this all in one appointment? And of course, I answered my own question because I went in there and I clicked each thing, and each thing had its own appointment for you to schedule, so I had to pick a day or whatever. So I think one of them actually had a Sunday appointment, so that was pretty cool. Figured it's like 10 a.m., 10 or 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday. So I won't be able to go to bed right away when I get home on that Sunday, but I'm like, hey, it's worth it. I'll stay up, do that 30-minute call, and then crash for a couple hours. And then if my wife's working, I don't really have to get up early anyway. I can literally just like go to bed at like 11, get up at like 4, or maybe run and grab my drinks really quick or whatever, or, you know, take the wife and the kiddo out for dinner that night or whatever, and hang out. But then the other 2 appointments, I believe, are Mondays. So I set those, like, one's at like, I think 3 p.m. and the other one's at like 4:30. You know, like 30 to 40 minute calls. These are, I guess, online, like telemed calls or whatever. Which I was like, that's cool. I was worried about it being like, hey, we need you to physically come in here. I'm like, the very first time I started trying to do VA stuff to try to up my disability a couple years back, I went to this one company, and I didn't pay anything up front. I just basically started filling stuff out with them. And they're like, yeah, you don't pay anything until you get approved, and then you pay like a percentage for back pay to us. That's what we charge the fee. I'm like, okay. But then we submitted everything to the VA, and I had no guidance. They were basically, all right, good luck, blah, blah, blah. And then the VA was trying to schedule me to come see their doctors. And they were trying to schedule me like an hour and a half away during the week when I was supposed to work. And I was like, I can't do those appointments. Like, can I reschedule? Can we put it on a day off, whatever? And it was like, I could never reach anybody. So basically that claim got denied. And then I did my last one the year before we moved. Went through the process with them. They had their own doctors. They literally told me, hey, when the VA tries to schedule you with their doctors, tell them you want them to use the evidence that you've already submitted. I was like, okay. So I did. It got up. It went from like 10% to 80, and now I'm working on trying to get it from 80 to 100. You know, just trying to continue to move forward, because that boost and that disability pay will definitely help a lot. Like, I already have plans. Like, once I get this taken care of, there's things that I'm already planning to do, like put a certain percentage of my paycheck away in high interest savings every week. Start investing. You know, literally start trying to grow our nesting, like grow our funds that we have, so that we're no longer living week to week, check to check. With the intent, like, you know, short-term goal would be get the coffee shop rocking and rolling, get the podcast rocking and rolling, monetize YouTube channel, and be like literally, you know, out of the job, off the road, whatever, within the next like year or two. But long-term plan, if that doesn't happen, is at least to be have put enough away within 10 years to come off the road, have like $500,000, 600,000, whatever in the bank. You know, just literally just putting 1,000, 1,200 something every week away or whatever, and trying to basically just plan. And by that point I'd be investing in stuff anyway, so it's like I probably wouldn't need to go 10 years until I would fully hang it up, because I probably would have already done stuff during that time to also bring in other streams of income, like books and whatnot. You know, that's just worst case scenario. do my current job for 10 years, and then be like, all right, cool. Now I'm gonna turn around and, you know, come off the road, and then, you know, obviously I would tap the funds that I would have put away because I'd be using, okay, let's publish some more books, let's help my wife get her food truck off the ground, let's do this, let's do that, you know. So one of those big steps was basically doing this VA thing or whatever, you know, and it's like, all right, let's get this going because that'll make other things possible. It was scary as hell because it's like, you know, you never know if you're gonna pay out $2,000 or $2,500 or something that, like, is it gonna pay off? And I'm like, it's gonna pay off. Like, I know I just gotta go through these appointments and stuff, and then get this all submitted to the VA. And technically, my daughter got removed as a dependent when she turned 18, but she's literally going to school. She's gonna be attending college here in the next month or so. So technically, with the VA, as long if they're a student, you can actually have them as a dependent until they're like 23 or 24. And so I have to go back online and basically like reapply to add her back as a dependent as a student because, you know, so I got to do that, which I already had the link up. I just got to get her social again and get her added on there again because technically I'll get a little bit of back pay for that because she got taken off back in March, and she would get re-added, and I would probably get back pay back to when they took her off. So like, hey, cool, I gotta definitely do that. But all that to say that, like, this is just part of what I'm talking about with like forward momentum, you know, like progress, whatever. Love this road. It's like certain parts of these roads they've done, it's like for whatever reason the ridges are in the middle of the lanes, so it's like no matter, like I would have to actually split one of the lanes and actually be not in between the lines, and that way I wouldn't be on the ridges. I'm like, how the hell did you guys do that? Like, you guys did the road, but yet the ridges are in the lane, so you're going in between the lines, and it's like, it sucks. And that's for a couple miles, and then it veers off a different direction, and suddenly you're in normal traffic lanes. And like, I'm like, all right, cool, you know, it's fine. But it's like with the like brain fog. It's like the brain fog and communication. It's like, I think what I was talking, let's see, started to go into it earlier in this episode, and I totally like spaced, but like when I was at Love's, kind of talking about brain fog communication. I went to check out with the cashier. There's like, you know, there's a lady that was ringing me up, and there's another dude that was behind the counter with her. And, you know, of course, like I, you know, come up there to have them scan my barcode for my my hot refill for my coffee. Otherwise, it's like $3 each time, which I'm willing to pay, but I figure, hey, I get them free, so. But come up there to pay for that and the chips and the candy bar, and of course she's like, how are you doing today? And I said, not too bad, I can't complain too much. She goes, I hear that. I said, I mean, actually I can complain, but you know. She goes, yeah, nobody will listen, right? Like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, except you listen, so I appreciate that. She goes, oh, my pleasure. And somehow we got into the conversation about people stealing or something, and people taking stuff. And I had mentioned, I was like, yeah, the other Loves, it's a little further past. For some reason I said it's exit like 275 or something. I was like, wait, no, 175. They didn't correct me. They literally, I'm sure they know which one it is, but they were like, oh yeah, we know which one you're talking about. Like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, I'm usually there most nights. And I said the cashier that's working there, I said he was telling them about how he told me about when like he'd see like people get like the hot dogs or something, and be walking around the store eating the hot dog or whatever, and then they come up to the cash register with a couple other items. They go to pay for those items, but don't say anything about the hot dog, and he still rings them up for the hot dog, and they're like, why are you doing that? And he's like, I saw you walking around eating a hot dog. Like, it's not free. Like, you gotta pay for that. Oh, wow, shit. You know, and but trying to actually say which loves I was talking about, I struggle with that. I literally was like, no, not 275, 175. You know, the one that's a little further down, blah blah blah. And you know, I'm like, sorry guys, I'm tired. It's like, that's why I got my coffee, whatever. They're like, oh no, don't worry, man, don't worry. We totally get it. We're tired as fuck too. I'm like, yeah, you know how it is then. Hell, be brain fogged and tired. This last week or so, there's been different guards I've been dealing with when I come out on a checkout to head to the Silverado in the morning to head home. One of them's like a young guy or whatever. I don't know, probably around my age, maybe a little bit younger. It's kind of hard to tell, you know, like most of us guys, especially when you have like goatees and beards and whatnot, we look older than we are sometimes. Very rarely do I see a guy and think that he looks like he's 19 and he's actually like 30 something. But I deliberately will not I will deliberately not try to guess a woman's age, because I don't fucking know. I can look at a woman and in my mind I'm thinking she looks like maybe she's like in her 30s, and she's actually in her 20s. And you can really only tell that, you know, when you're looking at a woman, and you can probably be a little more accurate when you're saying like, yeah, she looks like she's up there in age a little bit. If they got like really heavy wrinkles, got gray hair, you're like, okay, they're probably like 50, 60, you know. But if they're like, you know, they could, but there's women that are up there in age like that still have like, you know, they've colored their hair, so they have like blonde hair. They don't have, you know, they get their skin treated, you know, with like facial treatments, whatever. And so it's like, you know, they still look, they in the gym or whatever, so they're really thin or whatever and really fit. So they look like they're 25 and they're actually in their 40s. So it's like, I don't guess if I think a woman might be pregnant either, because I made that mistake once. Apparently I was right, but you know, I was working at a bowling alley when I was with my ex, and you know, I was at the front desk. I was one of the front counter people that would check people in, assign them lanes, whatever. The lady walked up and you know, of course, paid. Said, yeah, give me an hour on lane such and such. All right, cool. And then I literally, because of the way, I mean, she had that baby bump, like you know, and at least that's my dumbass brain or whatever. Literally, it was like, you know, I automatically just making conversation. So what do you do? She got offended, man. She got pissed. I am not pregnant. Oh shit! I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So she paid. She walked away. Whatever. I'm pissed off at me. 2 months later, she comes back in. She comes up to the counter. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. You know. And she's like, how the hell did you know? I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm like 3 months pregnant. I'm like, oh shit. It's like, I did, for whatever reason, I said, my mouth got away from me, and you know, my mind thought something, my mouth reacted. I didn't filter it. I didn't think about it before I let it, you know, flow out. It just happened. Like, oh my god, yeah, I'm like 3.5 months pregnant. Like, I had no idea, and somehow you knew. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't. She's no, it's just like, it just blew me away when I realized I was pregnant. You had actually said something a month before that, whatever, when I came here last. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. That was not intentional. Didn't mean to piss you off. And by that point, she wasn't pissed off. Then she said, no, I'm sorry, I got upset because I, you know, all right, cool. But now I joke saying, I've never done that again. Because, you know, women might come up and interact, and I might think they're possibly pregnant, but I ain't gonna say shit because I don't want to put myself in that position again. But so part of what I'm always advocating here, guys, is like, we gotta have hope. You know, we gotta like, it's like when I think it's what, Tony Robbins, in one of his episodes he did, he's talking about, like, if you're not growing, we're dying. If your relationship's not growing, it's dying. If your business isn't growing, it's dying. If your marriage isn't growing, it's dying. Like, you know, you gotta be always trying to do whatever you can to keep pushing forward, to keep making things happen, to keep making progress. And if you're like me and you struggle with, like, you know, exhaustion because you don't get enough sleep, you work too much, whatever, which is most of us. You know, a lot of us work way too hard, don't make anywhere near what we should make. I have not many complaints with my current job, because, like, I do make really good money. Obviously, like, I could always do more. I could always, if I was offered another $1,000 a week, hey, I wouldn't complain. I would, hell yeah, let's do it. When I got offered this run, I was working Tuesday through Saturday. I was making I was taking home probably like $1,100 a week, you know, after taxes or whatever. I was paying the bills and whatnot, but things are still pretty tight because I was paying everything still. And, you know, we would still do stuff as a fam, but I had my 2 days off. I had a lot of time each day when I got home. I'd have like 4 hours before I had to go to bed. So I had a lot more free time, but the money wasn't the greatest, or wasn't, like, perfect. When I got offered this run and I was told it's 6 days, it's 3,000 miles a week, and I was like, I'm only gonna have 24 hours off. I was like, that sucks. I was like, I really like my days off. I said, but I know there's things I really want to accomplish, and it's gonna take a lot longer with the current income to do it. So I thought, yeah, go ahead and put me on it. I'll go ahead and take it. I was like, I'll sacrifice my free time for the bigger paychecks, and I'll just start making stuff happen, like pay off the current debts I had to take on to get up here, work on getting the VA thing updated, you know, or increased, the work on getting, like, you know, helping the wife with her business, get her food truck or whatever she wants to do off the ground, work on getting us able to buy the house, all that fun stuff, all that, you know how it is, like I've heard, you could basically what I've heard people that are really successful, what I've heard those people say is that do what you got to. I mean, obviously, like they all advocate, like, well, don't, like, not spend time with your family. Like, don't spend the next 20 years focusing on your career, your job, and then after that, then, like, you know, you look back and you regret that you didn't spend time with your kids or your spouse or whatever. Obviously, do whatever you have to do. Go work those hours, go take those extra jobs, whatever. But at the same time, take those vacations, take the extra day at home. If, like, for instance, when we have weather out here, what I appreciate about my manager that I work for out here, last winter, there were a couple of occasions where we had a big storm that was coming through the Midwest, and it was big enough that it was going to dump like 3 feet of snow on us. My boss basically called me. I think I was planning I made it to Friday. I was gonna have Friday and Saturday left, and I was like, I figured maybe if I made it to Saturday, maybe I'd get through the week, because I heard it was gonna hit by, like, Saturday morning. Then maybe I'd get home, and maybe Saturday I would get a call. I got a call Friday morning before I got home, say, like, yeah, if you go to St. Louis tonight, you're probably gonna get stuck there for 3 days. And I was like, well, fuck that. He's like, so it's up to you. You can run it if you want, or what I'm recommending all my drivers, that we all park it. That we just park the trucks, take the weekend, pick it back up on Monday. That'll give, because the storm will hit tonight by midnight. You know, it'll run through tomorrow, a little bit on Sunday, but then Monday everything should be cleared up and ready to go. And FedEx won't. We get a weather-related decline if we decline loads during storms, but they don't penalize us for it. They understand, you know, versus, like, if they decline loads without the weather, FedEx assigns them points that are kind of like a penalty. But I guess during winter, they don't do that. He goes, I'm fine with taking the hit, because I'd rather everybody park the trucks and take the weekend off and be safe, because we'd rather not have the wrecks, because that counts against us pretty heavily. And I'm like, I understand. I was like, well, shit. I was like, I'm not going to complain. I'll go ahead and take the weekend, you know. Basically, I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the fam. I was like, I slept like probably at 14 hours all 3 of those days. Well, Saturday and Sunday anyway. Friday, that was when I got home. I think I got up at like 3:30 that afternoon. So I got like 6 hours of sleep, got up, hung out with the fam, got my drinks for the weekend. Just, I think we might have went out to eat Friday night, but then Saturday and Sunday we were like barricaded in the house because it was, the snow was coming down. So do what you got to do, work towards your goals, and take those risks, and pay what you got to pay, invest the money, whatever, to work towards your dreams, but also still taking care of yourself, take care of your family, your relationships, whatever. Like hang out with them, spend time with them. I say that because there's a big thing like tomorrow is not promised for any of us. Like you could be here today and think things are great, and then tomorrow you're gone. Or you're hanging out with the fam today, and then tomorrow something happens to one of them, and you lose one of them, and you're like, well, shit. So I'm trying to approach life myself from a position of as few regrets as possible. Like trying to get into a position where I go see my parents more often, be in a position where I can travel, go see family and friends. Well, I said at this point, well, I guess it's still family and friends because I can see like the in-laws, but like I can't say family as far as like my side of the family aside from my parents, because like my younger sisters really don't message me or talk to me, whatever. One of my brothers disowned me a while back, got pissed at something that had nothing to do with him, and I'm like, that has like literally nothing to do with you. That was between me and mom and dad. We worked it out, so you need to just like let it go. And I don't know why you feel like you have the right to be pissy at me about what happened, because yeah, I fucked up, but me and mom and dad worked it out. But then my other brother, I was close with him and his wife and their family, but they we had a falling out because of politics, because of comments made about the fact like saying that like God put people in power like Hitler or whatever, and that we're supposed to just per the Bible we're supposed to just blindly follow. And it's like, you're joking, right? I was like, okay, so I haven't been in contact with him for a while, but it's like, but family, as far as my wife's family, like my in-laws and whatnot, I would go see them. I would go down to Charlotte, see my bro Rico. I actually joked with him earlier. I was like, hey bro, like I don't know when I'm gonna be able to travel out of state with the fam, because I have to plan it around my kiddo's college schedule. So I don't know when she's gonna have time off, if it's gonna be during peak season when I can't take time off, if the earliest I could actually travel to like the East Coast would be like summer. Although I'd kind of like to take the fam on like a Disney trip, because we've been talking about that for years, never been able to do it. But I messaged Rico. I was like, hey bro, so what would you do if I offered? So I said, I would love to come down and visit you, but I said, but I don't know if I can do it. I was like, would you be willing to come out here if I paid for your flight and your hotel for a week? And he was like, oh, Mr. Big Pockets, man. That'd be a lot of money, man. Like a hotel for a week. Like, man, could you even do that, man? I was like, yeah. I was like, when I get the back pay and stuff, and I'm getting that payment per month, I was like, I'll be able to do it. It won't be that bad. Yeah, it'll be expensive, but I said, you don't need a suite at the hotel I would put you at. I was like, it's still a really good hotel. For one person, you don't need a suite. You can just get a regular hotel room. But like, whenever we do jury in the suites, me, my wife, and my kiddo, we always get the king suite. And it comes with a bedroom that has a king bed, and then it has a couch pull-out bed in the other room. So it's like. And then I think we stayed in one of those suites. We had my oldest and my grandson with us, and so we had us in the main room. My kiddos technically shared the pull-out bed, because it's like a queen size bed or whatever, or a full, so it's still pretty decent size. Two people can technically, they were able to sleep pretty comfortably, together, with still having like 2 feet, a foot and a half or so of space between the two of them. So they were able to sleep pretty comfortably. And then we had to pull out like a hide-a-bed, or one of those little rollaway beds for the grand kiddo. So we all were pretty comfortable in the hotel room. It was pretty nice, but for him, I would literally probably just get him like a queen, like a room with like 2 queens or something. And I had told them because they have happy hour. There's a little shout out for like Drury and the Swedes. So if anybody from Drury and the Swedes hears this any of these episodes or whatever, you guys love to sponsor the show. Hey, you guys are definitely my favorite hotel chain. Any time I go to a hotel, it's usually I try to see if you guys are in the area. So if you guys want to sponsor, give me a deal, for give me a little shout out on the show. I would not complain, Send me a message, blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. But I told him it was like they do a little happy hour thing where it's like 5:30 to 7 at night, Monday, or actually 7 days a week, where it's like you get free food, and they have every adult guest that's over 21 years of age gets a drink ticket for every day they're there. And you get 3 free alcoholic drinks, because they have a little bar set up. So they have a bartender that comes there and says, "What can I get you?" And it's like, all right, well, they have wine, they have beer, and they can do mixed drinks. So I was getting like margaritas or some of these other, bourbon or whatever, I told them, I was like, you know what, I'd probably, when I check you in at the hotel, I'd probably tell the front desk that it was you, me, and Aaron, they're all staying there. Or give all of us, like, yeah, you, me, Aaron, and Zoe, we're all staying in the hotel room, and that way we could show up, we could make an appearance there, and, for the happy hour, basically, eat whatever the food that they're offering that night and grab our drinks. Basically, all right, cool. Well, bro, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. And then basically head out to head home while he's at the hotel, But I was like, I'm willing to pay you to come out, pay for you to come out here. And he's like, well, shit, man, I figured that would be really expensive. But I was like, if you want to, I'm willing to, man. I was like, yeah, I figure it might be easier for me just to fly you out here and pay for your hotel than for me to try to get the fam down there. I know that he's by himself there anyway, so it's like it'd probably be a nice little getaway for him, But little stuff like that, I'm trying to like make plans for how I can like see family and friends and experience stuff. And hell, I'm looking into I'm researching motorhomes, like RVs, whatever. Not gonna be anytime soon. Obviously, I want to buy our house before I were to possibly buy a motorhome for us. But, because I'm fine with flying. Hell, I'm even fine with driving across country in our cars. But we have our Husky now. Like the cats, if we're gone for a week, we could probably set them up. Like make sure a couple of litter boxes are good. They have multiple bowls of food, water, and we could probably arrange with one of the local family. Hey, here's the code to the door. If you don't mind popping in once or twice throughout the week just to make sure that the cats haven't burned the house down, that they still got food, water, and they're good. So I'm not worried about them, but we have the Husky that, since we know that she was abused before we got her, and we know that, I don't think she had a chance to be a puppy. Because she's almost 3, and yet with us, she literally, she tries to wrestle with me on the bed, and sometimes I have to pin her to the bed, nah, let's stop. Because she gets aggressive and kind of nod on your hand a little too hard, so I'll pin her down, and my wife will be like, yeah, she just wants to play. I'm like, I know she wants to play. I was like, but she can calm down, because she nips, and you get a hold of her bottom jaw, and she'll try to pull away, all the way, I'm like, well, then stop biting. She's not hurting me, which is why she doesn't get smacked, but, been a few times where she does have a consequence, she gets dragged to the kennel or the crate and put in the kennel and crate for an hour if she gets a little bit too much. She's has bitten me in the past, in the little bit that we've had her, but most of the time she acts like she's gonna do it, then she doesn't. I'm like, yeah, because if you bite me, you know that you're gonna be in trouble, and you don't like being in the crate, and you want to go on a walk, and you want to get the treats, so you better behave yourself, basically. But I'm very hesitant with the idea of putting her in boarding for a week. So I don't want to go away for a week and put her in boarding, and then, I don't know how well she would handle that. I'm sure she'd be fine. But there's a part of me that's like, yeah, but I could actually get us into a motorhome, like rent one initially. You know, try to see, like, take 2 trips, rent one that's Class C motorhome that has overhead bunk. We'll take another trip, rent one of the Class A that's like the bus style ones, and see after driving each one how each one feels. Because I think honestly, it's like I want to do the bus style one, but I do like the Class C one because of me driving like the tractor trailer and like the truck I drive. We have we have the engines in front of the truck. Obviously, we have the the regular like a car. It's like got the hood in front. I don't think I've ever driven anything that just had a flat front where you're basically like you're just looking out your windshield and you're looking right at the ground because there's nothing in front of you. I'm sure it'd be fine. I could probably do it, but I think I'd probably do better with having some kind of hood in front of you. We just feel better, feel normal. But I'm thinking about doing the motorhome rental thing for 1 or 2 trips and taking the dog with us when we go to the East Coast, and that way we can just have her with us. We don't have to board her. But at the same time, when I think about that, I'm like, yeah, but I love to fly too and get out there really quick. Like, not have to take like a day and a half to drive out there, but be able to just go catch the plane in KCMO and fly out there, spend the week, catch a plane, fly back here, and then go pick the dog up from the boarding. So I'm not entirely sure which way we're gonna go for that first trip or whatever. Whenever I get the disability updated and stuff like that, and things are off and rolling. But I'm already, it's like one of those where like instead of thinking about where I'm at now and like thinking about like the struggles, I'm like, all right, I'm trying to make those plans. I'm trying to be like, all right, gotta have hope, gotta have a plan for the future. So it's like, and I know that a lot of people would do a lot more with their life if the money wasn't an issue. And I know that's been our problem. Like, there's things that we want to do, things I'm working toward, but it's something that like I've only been able to do so much so fast because of like, all right, I'm making good money, but I'm paying this, I'm paying that, and like pay, hell, some weeks I might pay rent and utilities, and it'd be almost $3 grand going out of my check, like all at once, and it's or $3 grand going out of the bank all at once. I don't make $3 grand in a week, but it's $3 grand going out from like the disability income as well as the check and whatnot. So it's almost $3 grand, and it's like kind of depressing, but at least still been like taking it week by week, and then once this is effective, that'll actually once this is active, it'll actually make things a lot easier. So even though like I said earlier, had the debate with the wife where she has her opinion on like, well, like we need to work on my car, we need to do this and that. I understand that. I was like, but love, if it's all on me to take care of most of the financial responsibilities, I was like, I'm gonna do the disability first because we need the financial boost now, because that'll make things a lot easier. Like, I'll be able to take care of a lot more stuff. Things can get fixed. Cars can get worked on. Businesses could be set. Like, I could actually be putting money into Blodgett Coffee to grow that business. I can invest into my wife's business. I already have a plan for that, like helping her with that, but trying to do it in a way where maybe have, even though I'm not doing many orders right now, maybe have, finance certain parts of whatever we need for my wife's business, but having it be done through Blodgett Coffee, and say that Blodgett Coffee is literally investing in my wife's business, and basically fill out a little thing that's like, as a write-off, like, hey, it's a business expense. I donated financial support to this other business, even though it's a family business, but hey, it's still, it's like one of those, there's a YouTube video I saw online that, I think it was a movie, and I think I might have mentioned it on one of these episodes, but this older guy, like an old guy, was telling this young kid, he was like, so I invest in oil fields. And he's drawing this all like this little the market board. He goes, money from which I invest into shipping. Basically draws a picture of a truck. And he's like, why pay somebody else to transport your own oil? Money from which I invest into refineries. Why pay somebody else to process your own oil? Money from which I invest into gas stations. Why pay somebody else to pump your own gas? Money from which I invest into hotels, place for my workers to be able to stay. You know, money from which I invest back into the trust. Money from which I invest in more oil fields and so on and so forth. The kid's like, it's like a spider. You know, the way he had the diagram, whatever. He goes, yeah, like a big money spider. And he goes, but he's like, but the awesome part of this is the fact that with each business, as it continues to get bigger and bigger, pays zero in taxes because I literally have zero profit, because he's turning around and everything he's making is going into the next business to grow that, and so on and so forth, you know, and basically he's, you know, all that, he's able to write that off, so he's not paying taxes on everything he's bringing in, because it's like when I read that one book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, he was talking about real estate, like buying a property, and then whenever you sell a property, you have to pay like short-term gains tax on it. But if you sell a property, like say you buy a property and you have it for a couple months, you know, you flip it, you pay money to fix it up, and then, you know, you turn around and sell it, you normally would pay taxes on that gain, that profit you made. But what he talked about with, like, where you wouldn't have to do that is if you sold it, but you turn around and bought a bigger property. Then you wouldn't have to pay taxes on the profit you made on the sell of the smaller house, the smaller property, because you turned around and you upgraded, you bought a bigger property with that. I'm like, well, that's cool. So that's why with all that, with the money spider, it's like, that's kind of why I would, you know, if there's already one other business idea that for like food products that I make, it's a family recipe that's been passed down from my grandparents or my great grandparents. I would use the Blodgett Blodgett coffee to you know, open that other business, and then, you know, also use the profits from those businesses to help my wife with her business, whatever, you know. So it's like lots of plans, and I know that when things fully take off, things like we got the sales, we got the orders coming in, things will be good. It's just right now I'm going, obviously I plan to figure that shit out, I plan to make it happen, I just don't know how. So, but it's like the podcast. When I started the podcast, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, but probably like, it's probably been at least, I don't know if it's been 4 years, might be. It's kind of depressing in a way, because you got some of these other podcasts I listen to, they've been going for like a year or two longer than me, and they've got like 500,000 followers. You know, they do it full time now, like they quit their jobs by like the 2nd year, and I'm like, here I am like 3 or 4 years in, and I'm still working full time, not monetized yet, but I'm like, yeah, but I don't have, you know, I didn't have a degree in like radio broadcasting or whatever, and I don't really have like fancy equipment and stuff. So it's like, I know the things I want to do with the show, and I will make it happen. It's just, you know, taking me a little bit to get there. So all we gotta do, guys, is, you know, you set your goals, you know, decide where you want to be, like what you want your life to be like, and then you just keep working towards it. You keep research the hell out of, like, you know, how other people that are doing what you're trying to do, how they did it, and try to, hell, it's like, I'm really trying not to partner with a guy that says he can really boost the followers of the show and get it, you know. His only request is basically like, once I get you there and the show becomes monetized, starts bringing in revenue, you know, you don't have to pay me anything monthly, but once it becomes like monetized, then we would just split the revenue 50-50. And I'm like, that's where I was like, permanently? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so I was like, okay, well, I'll have to let you know. So we've talked a couple times, and I've expressed to him since then, like, I just don't feel comfortable giving half the business away permanently. He goes, well, no, it wouldn't be permanent. Like, we could come up with an arrangement where it's like for a certain amount of time, we could reevaluate. It doesn't have to be half of it. It could be, he's like, I just figured that way we'd both be benefiting from it. I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm not against it. I'm just trying to figure out if I could do it myself without going that route. But there's a part of me leaning towards going that route just because I figured it might be the way I get the podcast really up and running, and bringing in revenue and stuff, but also publishing the volumes, the books that have the short stories. That might also be a way that I give the podcast a big boost. So, you know how it is, guys. Always looking at what options I have, what actions I can take, things I can do to try to make it better. And I know I'll get there. I just don't know how to get there, but I'm closer with the podcast than I am with figuring out how to get the coffee shop really off and rolling. Or how to publish the books, but it's like part of the issue is just time. Like for me, it's like had that debate with one of the Raw Chat peeps, David Goldberg, where we were talking about like being able to actually write to keep working on your book, and I was like, yeah, I haven't had the time to work on my books. I was like, there's things I know where I want to go with it, just haven't had the time. And he's like, well, you gotta find time, bro. I'm like, easier said than done, man. I was like, I literally get home, eat, maybe grab a shower and basically go to bed. It's like I get back up at like 4:30 to get ready to come back to the truck. I was like, there's literally no time. I said, hell, my day off, I really don't have a whole lot of time on that because I usually have stuff I have to take care of there too, or I'm hanging out with the fam. So it's not like I could take 2 hours and go off by myself and try to do something. So, and he talks like, yeah, about like, well, yeah, but you do it, but you don't have the time. I'm like, yeah, exactly. But it's gonna happen at some point. Like I'm working on getting the offices set up. Like getting computer desks in there. I have a computer chair up in the upstairs office that's gonna be the one I use. Even though my wife, because there's 2 offices, so I'm like figuring like if I'm upstairs in the upstairs office, if she needs to be on the computer in an office, she can go downstairs. But she's like talking about like, well, I figure I want to set something up in the upstairs office as well, so that we can both be in there if we have to. And I was like, love, you realize there's a downstairs office too? She goes, well, I know. But I figure like, there's no reason why we can't both be in there at the same time. I'm like, well, if I'm recording, it's gonna be hard for you to actually work. If I'm in there like literally recording an episode, unless you just come in there and start doing your own thing and being loud, then I'm like, well, shit. Like now I've got background noise because my wife decided to come in here and talk to me while I'm trying to record. It's gonna be interesting, but that's a bridge I'll cross when I come to it, I guess, But I guess I could invest in like a microphone that does the noise canceling, or have a headset that has noise canceling, so that way if she comes in and says something, I can probably pause it for a second, I'd be like, pause. What was that, love? Oh, sorry, didn't mean to bother you. I'm like, okay, no worries. I'm just recording for the podcast and try to monetize, but don't worry. Hey, what's up? So, anyway, y'all, I rambled way too much in this episode, but I know a lot of it is stuff that's definitely important. Hopefully you guys find value in it. But the point of the matter is, don't let the brain fog and the tiredness, even the feeling down or whatever, depending on what's going on in life, don't let that stop you. For me, literally, it's like it would be so easy for me to just not do anything, for me to stay in bed. I'm not gonna go to work today, or I'm not gonna get up and do stuff. Hell, it'd be even easier for me to just blow off podcasts and not do my episodes. But the problem is like, if I did that, then the next week I would struggle to be motivated to record that week also. So I would skip one week, and then I would have trouble trying to motivate myself to jump on and record the following week. And it just becomes harder and harder. Just like when I was going to the gym, going to work out at the Y. I went every day for like 2 months, and then I had that slip and fall down the stairs. I was out for 2 months, or I was out for a month before I could really walk again, and maybe another couple months before I really I was feeling like there wasn't as much pain there. I was actually moving around a little bit freer, but by that point I'd been out of the Y for like 3 months, and I wanted to get back into it, but I just couldn't bring myself because I was getting up early to go do it. And I couldn't bring myself to start getting up early and go doing it again. I was lazy. I was like, I don't feel like it. I want to sleep in, blah, blah, blah. And I knew that's what was going to happen. I was telling myself for those 2 months I was going to the gym, I'm like, I'm not going to skip a day because then I'll have trouble coming back. And instead I didn't just skip. I actually got hurt, and that's why I couldn't come work out at the gym for a little bit. Even though I was barely able to walk, I should have still kept coming in and basically just doing what I could, like doing light weights, maybe go walking really slow on the track upstairs, just still trying to do something. It's kind of like what I'm doing right now with the pup. Even though it might be late in the morning when I get back, and I'm like, I need to get home and get to bed. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take the pup for a walk because I know it's good for her and it's good for me to get out and do it. So I'm gonna do it. And she's been eating all her food since, so it's like, I guess it must be working out because it's actually giving her exercise, and she's actually eating she's doing what I like to call her clean bowl club, actually eating all her food. And I think it's motivated my kiddo to actually, because she wasn't taking her on walks at night either for a little bit. Like once in a while, she'd be like, I took Nala out for a walk. We're all in there. I'm like, all right, go ahead, arm the security system. She goes, all right. And I check to make sure, because there's been a few times where she's like, we're all in for the night. Nala's in bed with mom. And then I check at like 2:30 in the morning after I'm sure everybody's asleep, and it still shows disarmed. So I go ahead and arm it remotely. Because nighttime's got to make sure we're got the family safe at home. I don't want to walk into a true crime episode, but it's funny because lately I've been taking her for a walk in the morning, and then I've noticed the last 3 or 4 nights, I think my kiddo has been taking her out at night for a little bit of a walk. And I'm like, all right, cool. I know she needs it. She needs the walks because she's super hyperactive. Like I said, she didn't really get a puppyhood, I guess, with her last family, I don't think. And so with us, because she's got so much love, she's spoiled so much, she's very much like wants to play, wants to run, whatever, and we're like, calm the fuck down. So anyway, y'all, on that note, I'm going to throw out all the socials for you guys, where you guys can find us. You can find the Blodgett Show Podcast on Instagram at Blodgett Show Podcast. Everything that I'm going to let you guys know, basically everything's in the show notes as well. You put the links and whatnot. My personal socials, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's TNTruckerChris, as in Tennessee Trucker Chris. I'm on what used to be Twitter, but it's now X, as CEAZ Freedom. That's Charlie Equator Alpha Zulu Freedom, FREEDOM. I have a blog that I've updated on occasionally. I'm working on trying to get back into, especially because I'm trying to mention stuff about the coffee shop and stuff. So I'm going to be updating that more regularly sometime in the future. But that is tntruckerchris.wordpress.com. That's WORDPRESS.com. To check out the coffee shop, which we have coffee as well as tea. And all these different kind of flavors. It's fresh roasted to order. Literally, like as soon as you place your order, it gets roasted. So basically, your order will usually get fulfilled within 48 hours. And so within 2 to 3 days, it'll be fulfilled, roasted, shipped. So, but we have coffee, we have tea, and we have some merch like hoodies, coffee mugs, tumblers, t-shirts, some other sweatshirts that are non-hooded. On the coffee mugs, there's different colors and stuff, so it's like, you can find all of that, check everything out at blodgettcoffee.com. You can put a promo code for 10% off your first order, which is basically coffee10. That's COFFEE 10. Aside from that, I can't think of anything else. Watch, I'll in the episode be like, shit. But if anybody wants to support the show, see, look, I just, oh, wait, one more thing. Anybody that wants to support the show, go to blodgettshowpodcast.com/support or blodgettshow.com/support. SUPPORT. And either do like a recurring monetary donation, or you can do like a one-time, as low as $1 or whatever. Like anything and everything would help and is much appreciated. Thank you in advance. And basically anything brought in would basically go towards trying to do whatever I could to boost the show and make things better and get things like, even if getting like Blodgett Show merch eventually, getting the books published and stuff like that. The show will be nice and big and really, really hopping eventually. I have no doubt about that. I just have to keep pushing forward, doing what I'm doing, where I'm always talking about, you gotta have hope, you gotta take 1 week at a time. So it's like I could very easily just quit because I'm like, man, I've been working on this show forever and I'm not where I want to be, blah blah blah. But I know I'm never gonna get there if I quit. So it's like I gotta at least, I'm taking my own advice. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep doing the episodes every week, gonna keep taking action and doing what I gotta do. It's like one of the things that I was telling my kiddo about, that I might have told you guys about on this episode, on this show, I guess. But way back with my ex, I almost went to school to become an airline pilot. I was living in Dallas. I was accepted to this school. It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called Spartan College of Aeronautics. It's kind of a regret because I got approved. I filled out all the stuff for financial aid. Had loans, grants, whatever. It's like $16,000 for the year, or for the semester. I think it's basically had to pay for your first semester. And I had enough in financial aid. I got $11,000. So I had $5,000 that I was short. Basically, they told me, well, if you can figure this out, if you can get the remaining $5K covered, once you get in the door, it's a lot easier to get the rest of it covered. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, let me see what I can do. This is back before, like, smartphones and stuff. It was like, I think it was like mid 2000s. It was like 2003 or 4 or something. So we had cell phones, but they were like Nokia and stuff, or flip phones. Not gonna lie, I love my phone now, but I love my flip phone. I thought the flip phones were fucking awesome. It got all dramatic when you get a call and you flip that phone open and answer hello, and then go to answer, or to hang up, click, just close the phone. Texting was a real bitch with those. To hit certain numbers, to hit multiple times, like 555-221-11-66-5533. Those of you that are a little bit older, you guys will know it. You guys remember what I'm talking about. But I had $5,000 that I was missing, and I didn't have any connections. Right now, I have people that I know online, people I've connected with that I could probably ask for help, whatever. But back then, the only people I could think of were my parents. I messaged my parents, basically was like, hey, here's the deal. I'm trying to become an airline pilot. I'm accepted to this school to go get a bachelor's of aviation, or aviation science, or whatever it is. I was like, they help you while you're in school to become a flight instructor, so you can start getting flight hours while you're also making money while you're still going to school. I said, then when you graduate, they help you get into an airline. I was like, I've got $11,000 out of the $16,000. They said once I get in there, that it's a lot easier to get everything covered after that point, but getting in the door is the hard part. I was like, is there any chance you guys would be willing to help me with the remaining $5K? My parents basically were like, right off the bat, or really quick, were like, no, we think that being an airline pilot is a dead-end job, and we feel like we'd be wasting money by helping you with the $5,000, so we think you should basically look for something else. I'm like, so I was telling my kiddo about this, and current me I would take that no and be like, okay, well, I guess I have to figure out another way to make this happen. But past me, 20 something, 20, let's see, it's probably like, yeah, 20, maybe 22 years back, 23 years back, because I was probably 20 or 21. Maybe I think it was probably 21 at that point at least. Past me basically took their no and was like, oh, well, shit, that sucks. Okay, well, that's not gonna happen. I guess that's a no. It's, you know, this dream is canceled. Blah blah blah. I told my kiddo, I said, I would totally like I look back and I kind of wish I would have been like, message to school and be like, hey, can you push out my start date for next year to give me time to figure out how to get like $5,000 to cover the tuition? You know, would have applied for other grants or scholarships or something to try to figure out some way to get it covered so I can get in the door and get started. Because part of that was also like, that was even covering, it was like $32,000 per year, but that included like I'd have an apartment on campus that like I could have moved into with my then wife, and she would have been able to get a job locally and stuff, like literally, or I could have moved there by myself, but it had housing included and stuff, because I was like a couple 100 miles from Tulsa, so there's no way I was going to be able to commute that every day. I was going to have to live on campus or something. So looking back now, I was like, I would have pushed it out a year and tried to figure it out, but back then I totally just, I took that and just was defeated. I was like, okay. So if you're, if there's any listeners out there, if you're listening to this and you're pretty young, 18, 19, 20, 21, trying to figure out your dream, if there's dreams you're after or whatever, but like you've been told no, it's not possible, it's a scam. Don't let those no's make that decision for you. Okay, thank you. And then just, you know, like keep researching, look online, try to figure out if there's grants, loans, financial aid. You know, if like hell, if you're trying to do a business, there's angel investors out there. If you have like a business idea that you're trying to do, you know, especially if you can write it all out and show what your plan is, angel investors usually just need they just need to see what your idea is, how you plan to make it work, and blah blah blah. And if it makes sense, they'll freaking come in there and back you. Don't take no help, you know. Don't take a no as it can't be done. Take that no as, okay, I obviously this didn't work. Let's try something else. Let's talk to someone else. Let's apply for something else. Let's do something. Part of why I'm, you know, one of the one of my goals as the host on the show, talking to you guys, is basically to not just keep it real with you, but to be like, hey guys, it can happen. We only fail. One of my sayings, you guys always hear me say it. We only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as we continue to get back up and keep trying something else, you haven't failed. You can fail 500 times at trying to do something, but as long as each time you fail, you don't take that fail as a permanent failure. You just literally get back up. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And then the 501st attempt, all of a sudden, you start making some sales, or you accomplish this task that you were trying to figure out how to do. Keep pushing forward, taking it week by week, and, you know, taking it one failed attempt after another until you have a successful attempt. So on that note, guys, way too long this episode, so I apologize, but I hope it was a good one for you guys. Again, support the show, Blodgett Show Podcast at or blodgettshowpodcast.com/support. Any writers out there, if you have stories you want me to add to my collection, ones to read live for the show, send your fictions or any stories really. If you got like ghost stories or true crime stuff, the things that happen that you just want me to read on the show. I guess it's still a short story, you know. Send it to blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, I'll review and make sure everything's good. But aside from that, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. This is just it's kind of like it's almost like therapy for me too, because like I get to, instead of like just being alone with my thoughts, I get to come on here and be present with you guys. So anyway, y'all, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Keep pushing forward, keep believing. Believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. Have a great rest of your week. Love y'all, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Have a good one.